ho ho he ho he ho he ho he ho. Ia ho ho he ho he ho he ho he ho. Ia ho ho he ho he ho he ho he ho. Ia ho ho he ho he ho he ho he ho. The Trans Mountain Pipeline comes from the Alberta tar sands, which is like the dirtiest oil in the world. It's terrible. It's a very high cancer rates of like Indigenous people around there, and it goes through many other Indigenous people's territories and affects many other lands. There could be potential spills. My mother's clan is the Orca clan, and my father's is the Wolf, and those are my lineages, and this right here is the water and land I belong to. It's a part of who I am. Like, we say the ocean water runs through our veins. I always think of it that way. A lot of my teachings come from my dad and my grandma and my mom and all my ancestors. So I owe so much to them because they survived so many things and held on to so much culture for me to be able to speak my language, to sit here and advocate for the water and speak on that, because for them they would have been punished severely for it.
This water on this inlet is our creation story. We've been in the same spot for 30,000 years, according to the archaeologists who dug up our clan beds. We are the people of the inlet to Tsleil-Waututh. And I say, this is my inlet, this is my land. Waywichin Kate's Park was a big reserve of ours. We populated both sides of this inlet from Indian River way down past Horseshoe Bay, and we got wiped out to 13 people. And it was those 13 that kept our traditions.
Where we are right now it's called Kate's Park, Waywichin, and that means facing the wind. But what it actually is one of our old village sites. What is right behind us is the Trans Mountain Pipeline, former the Kinder Morgan Pipeline. So the last 12 years, that's what I've been working on, is stopping with my nation this pipeline. Historically, anywhere you have a port like this, everything under it dies. So when the tanker traffic is going to increase to over 1 a day. So not if, but when a spill will happen, 1 million people get sick immediately. 500,000 birds would die and never be replaced. We did a 1,200-page assessment on this project based on Tsleil-Waututh Nation law. We did a spill analysis, we did a clean analysis, we did multiple economic studies because the price per barrel fluctuates so much. We went to court twice. We won the first time, Federal Court of Appeal. And then they appealed, of course, and then we lost. But even then we won, because we said these tankers will decimate the resident orca whales. Then they told us themselves, they said, you know, your economic analysis is right, Canada's wrong, but we're gonna side with the best interest of Canada. So it's corrupt in many, many, many ways. And my biggest fear is they're gonna give it to some First Nation groups that are interested in buying it. And that's scary too, because it's economic smallpox.
If you bath your baby, you can only bath them in less than 2 minutes because the water's so toxic. You turn on the tap, you can put a match to it and it will flame up. The people live in a few miles down from the tar sands, they're getting blood cancer. It looks like another planet, the tar sands. The natives who live near there, they hunted there, caught fish there, and now they pull up a fish out of the water and there's all cancer under its fins. But they're so hungry they'll take that cancer off and cook it anyway. They want to dig into this inlet 50 feet and make oil tankers taller than the tallest Vancouver skyscraper. And that will kill all the salmon, all the herring, all the crabs and clams, the orcas. To me, that means money over lives. They said any protests, it's going to be automatic arrest and jail time for sure. That must come directly from Trudeau protecting his dirty business. To the government, who is Trudeau, who bought the pipelines, he made a really big, huge mistake by buying that pipeline. Every time the gas goes up, that makes us, and we're paying for our gas, we're investors for your project. And we don't want it. We don't want no pipelines. We don't want no big tankers coming through here. And we want you people to start saying so too, to protect yourself and your land and your air and your children. And then Trudeau says, I'm an environmentalist. What a joke. What a big joke.
80% of this pipeline's built. And it's hard to see that Canada still continues to make a choice with a stranded asset. Vancouver for a long time was voted one of the most beautiful places to live in the world for years, and all that be ruined with one disaster. What we shouldn't do is normalize it. I think that's what our community does, and a lot of people across the country, they if it's not in their backyard, they don't worry about it, but also they think that they can't do nothing about it, but we can.
This was constructed quite recently. It was made so we can keep an eye out on what's happening on our territory. Traditionally, watch houses, they were made when there were people coming on our territory or there was invaders coming. And we'd build these small settlements, these small watch houses so we could look out for them. We didn't ask anybody because it's our territory. I was around 11 years old when I first started to hear talks about a pipeline wanting to be built through our traditional territory. My dad came to me and he said, Kaya, there is going to be a pipeline coming through our territory, an oil pipeline. They say it promises a lot of economic opportunity for our people and all peoples, and they say it's going to benefit people, but I think we know better than that. I've had several family members arrested and many, many friends and allies, especially in this area. Anytime you get too close to the construction, there's a chance of getting arrested. My grandmother was actually arrested too. I personally don't have fear of standing up for my land and standing up for my people and future generations, and I know many others fearlessly stand by my side. In spite of all these things, in spite of all these risks, we persist anyways because it's what we believe in.
She knows what she wants to do and how she wants to help, and she dedicated her life to protecting our lands, waters, and people. And I'm glad she's humble about it too. Like, not, you know, she's a good kid, really, really good kid.
They're my life, they're my love, they're my reason to be here. My children and my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren. I don't want to go. I want to stay here and I want to see them grow up.
Her and my dad were the ones who really encouraged me in the beginning to stand up. I remember starting off at really small rallies. Now it's like grown to thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of people. I was so nervous. But then she was right there by my side and she said, pray. And my dad said, pray. Your ancestors are beside you. The women are in charge, they're the leaders, and they're tough as nails. And that's her like setting her example. Like, you don't falter or fall to nobody. One thing she did teach me as a matriarchal woman, it doesn't matter if you're a girl, it doesn't matter your age, you're gonna hear my voice. That's in every fiber of my being. It's instilled to stand up and fight and to speak.
We always say we're not speaking for ourselves. We're speaking for all the ones who cannot talk. We talk for the whale, we talk for the salmon, we talk for the heron. I picked it up very easy because my ancestors did it. And it's in my genes, it's in my total makeup as a human being.
The resident orca population is dwindling. They're like functionally, a lot of people are saying they're functionally extinct because their replacement rate isn't meeting the current population. And orcas are matriarchal, we're also matriarchal. I love to make that, connection. They follow the grandmother, we follow our grandmothers. They have different languages and dialects and songs, so do we. Indigenous rights and environmental rights are totally intertwined, especially on stolen land. You can't involve one without the other in a lot of different ways. So if you are wanting to stand up for the land, remember whose land it is. Recognize that at one point that land was cared for and lived on and loved and by people for thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years.
This body carries our spirit. We're all spirit beings with a body. And this body is important because it does hold our spirit, and it's the same as all other living things.
When we love ourselves and we love our spirit and we love our being of who we are, we start to love everything else. Like we're taught to love the water, everything, leaves, grass, trees, everything, animals, everything has a spirit. And that's the best place to start to do our healing too. The mental, emotional, physical trauma, that's what we strive for to fix. And the systemic racism that created that is still some of the things that we deal with today. But this is what we use to heal. So spiritually, this is what helped us, the water right here.